Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Andrew Lawton, the Member of Parliament for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South, doing something that I haven't done in a little while, which is putting back on my interviewer hat because I wanted to unpack some numbers that have come out in the last week here that are very concerning and are keeping with a lot of what I've been hearing in general for quite a while, which is that there is a crisis in youth unemployment and young people not being able to find jobs. The July labor force survey from Statistics Canada came out and found that in the last month, 34,000 youth aged 15 to 24 have lost their jobs. The youth unemployment rate has increased to 14.6%. So, what does this mean? What's causing this? And what can we do about it? Joining me is my colleague, fellow Conservative MP, and also the Shadow Minister for Employment, Garnett Genuis. Garnett, good to talk to you again. Thanks for taking some time out of your summer to help break this down.
Great to chat with you, Andrew. I think I've been interviewed by you before, but not as a colleague now. So it's great to to see you wearing both hats at once this time.
Yeah. These numbers weren't surprising to me, sadly. I've been hearing from so many constituents in London, in St. Thomas, in Elgin County. My son can't find a job, my daughter can't find a job, and simultaneously, we also hear from employers this seemingly contradictory concern. I can't find employees, I can't find laborers, and both of them are true in a way, even though they sound like they couldn't be. So explain that first. How is there this crisis in youth joblessness and also at the same time, a labor shortage in some areas?
Yeah. So, Andrew, it's a good way of framing the question. I think there's a few different things going on. So we do clearly have a youth unemployment crisis. The numbers are clear on that. The employment rate for young people is at its lowest level in over 25 years. So there clearly is a massive generational challenge, and it's critical for young people to have that first job. For many of us, our first job is our most important job because it gets us on the road, learning critical skills and building a career. I think there are a few different things that are causing this problem. There's issues around just challenges in the economy in general. Liberals have spent 10 years demonizing small businesses, imposing more and more red tape, making it harder for investments to proceed. And a lot of those economic concepts that liberals didn't like thinking about or talking about, monetary policy, inflation, productivity, those decisions that the Trudeau and Carney liberals have made have consequences in terms of unemployment. So economic policies, failed immigration policies that don't align immigration with our labor market needs, and then another area, third area, would be policies around skills. And this is sort of to get back to answering your question about how is it the case that young people are struggling to find jobs, but in some cases as well, employers identify that they're struggling to find the right people to fill jobs. Conservatives have put a big emphasis on helping young people access the skills training that they need to align with the labor market needs of today, which is why in the election platform we propose a significant increase in UTIP funding. That's funding for union training centers that are helping young people acquire the skills they need to be job ready. Generally, if employers are struggling to find people, it's going to be in specific skill areas or specific geography where it's difficult to find people that align with those needs. So we need to make improvements in all of these areas. We need to fix the immigration system that liberals broke. We need to fix these failing liberal economic policies, and we also need to strengthen skills training that aligns with the needs of our labor market, which is exactly what the last Conservative platform proposed to do around increasing UTIP funding and some other changes on skills.
My first job, I was 14 years old. I was bussing tables and mopping floors in a hotel. I worked, the standard, rotation of food service jobs. I never did fast food, but I worked in restaurants, and a lot of those jobs, which again, they were not glamorous, they were minimum wage, but they taught you work ethic, they gave you work experience, they, connected you with people, and they gave you some purpose. Like, these are the jobs that right now we're seeing are just not available for young people. And I mean, the elephant in the room on this issue is immigration. We see a lot of these service jobs filled by international students and temporary foreign workers. And to be fair, though, These are people who are, we want them to be able to have purpose and have meaning and whatnot. And at the same time, we also have to be mindful of the imbalance in numbers here. We know that the immigration system has been broken. We have seen hugely reckless changes to this over the last 10 years under the Liberal government. And we're seeing now a big part of that crisis, which is that we've now permanently, it seems like, or it feels like, although I don't want to believe that's the case, we've shut out young people from these jobs that they need to get into the workforce.
Yeah, so immigration is certainly a critical part of the picture. It's not only immigration, but immigration is part of the picture. And look, I think you're right to point out. Newcomers did not break the immigration system. Liberals
No.
broke the immigration system. I don't blame anyone for wanting to come to Canada, and there are more people who want to come to Canada than are able to come to Canada, which is why we need an immigration system that functions well, that works for our, those who are already here and those who are coming. And there's a lot of different aspects to this. So one issue actually is skill recognition for newcomers, right? You have people coming who have qualifications that maybe could be working in areas where there are skill gaps, but then there's major problems in credential recognition. So people end up working in entry-level jobs when they could be working in jobs that require specific skills that they have. So
And those
conservatives
skill jobs are the
propose.
ones we go back to earlier that have the shortages where we actually need the people. So now we have two people competing for one job and no one filling the other job.
Right, so that's one area, credential recognition. And look, there are a lot of different programs where there are different kinds of problems. I think the temporary foreign worker program is an important issue to discuss. The Liberals have really bungled that. We've had a big increase in inland asylum claimants. That's people coming to Canada claiming asylum, and the Liberals have failed to put in place an efficient system for adjudication of those claims, which means those folks are staying longer before their claims
Mm-hmm.
are evaluated at all. And then you've had, I think, some real abuses of the international student program. There's a lot of great opportunities to come as an international student, but then you've got instances like I mean I've heard of cases of immigration consultants owning small private colleges uh, that that really look more like it's studying as a means to immigrate, not they're not coming here to study. They're studying in order to come here, and that's where I think there needs to be a lot of cleaning up to do. So our shadow minister for immigration, Michelle Rempel-Garner, is doing great work on that, engaging with lots of people. It's not the only issue in the employment file, but it's definitely part of the picture that conservatives are talking about.
And I share this for the benefit of a lot of my constituents who are in agriculture, which just relies so heavily on temporary foreign workers because there's this longstanding shortage. Temporary foreign workers, not all of them are created equally in terms of the program. There's the agricultural stream, and then there are others, and that seems to be where we have this area that's a bit more fraud, and people that are using TFWs to fill jobs that we know young people are eager to fill. And just to understand these numbers a bit more, when we look at the youth unemployment rate going up to 14.6%, that's not just, because some kids don't need to work and they want to just sit at home. Like these are people that are seeking employment.
Yeah, like sure we can nerd out on the statistical measures a little bit because there's the employment rate and the unemployment rate,
Mm-hmm.
and the employment rate measures the percentage of that total population that are employed,
Mm-hmm.
and then the unemployment rate measures the percentage of those who are in the workforce, that is, wishing to work, looking for jobs, who are not working. So a person might be not working, but also not unemployed because they are retired, they're in school, they're they've taken themselves out of the workforce for some reason. So looking at these statistics, the youth unemployment rate has gone up very significantly. It's approaching 15%, and so this is the percentage of people who are 15 to 24 who are in the workforce, who would like to be working, who are seeking employment, and are not able to. So it does not include those that are not in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, the employment rate, that is the percentage of people in that age cohort who are working, is at its lowest level in more than 25 years. And I think we do have to be concerned about the employment rate as well as the unemployment rate, because there are going to be, I think, a lot of instances of people taking themselves out of the workforce because not because they're studying or because because they have some specific reason for doing it, but because they've given up, right? So the fact that we have a historic low in the employment rate demonstrates the high unemployment, but also that you've got people that are just giving up entirely. And I hear this too from young people that, they've put in over 1,000 resumes. They're trying to find a job, but maybe the only opportunities, the cost of living is exerting such pressure on them, and what they would need to do in terms of moving and transportation, to even take some of these jobs they're applying for, and they just get to a point where they get frustrated and start to give up, and that's really tragic to see. I think we need to put in place new policies that allow young people to get to work and give young people hope again about what they can build and achieve.
I think that's a crucial point, Garnet, because there are some longer term implications of this
Yeah.
when young people aren't able to work in those critical years where, you have a summer and you can devote it to, getting new skills, getting some money. If you don't get enough money in the summer, it might have implications on how much you're able to spend if you're in school and can't work full time during the school year. It's less money that you're able to set aside to eventually, hopefully, move out on your own. I mean, that's brings us into the housing issue, which is another one entirely. And also, again, the lack of experience, the lack of being able to develop those crucial skills that you need to get jobs later on. So, I mean, I know that we're obviously, we have skin in the game, and that we think that our party has put forward the better plan on this. And I think we still think there's a lot we can do on that. But what are the steps that we can do now, you and I as MPs, to actually start pushing this in the right direction as much as we can?
Yeah, so I've been speaking to young people a lot in the context of this role. There's employers, NGOs, other policymakers, young people, and I think the reality young people understand, and I've been emphasizing it in conversation, is that things are tough out there, which means young people are going to have to adapt to these realities. And it's unfortunate that we're here, but after 10 years of Liberal policy, we're seeing this in the numbers, and part of the nature of life, and you're about my age, I think, Andrew, you'll have experienced this too. You kind of have an upward sloping responsibility curve in your life, right? You become an adult, but then initially maybe you have more supports, maybe you're living at home, you're getting help from your family, and then at some point you find a partner, you get married, you have kids, and this isn't the path for everyone, but for many it is. And then maybe as your parents age, that adds some additional responsibilities. And my advice to young people is it's important to try to start early with serious career planning, so that as you hit those milestones of more and more responsibility in your life, that you are building a strong career foundation. That means you have the resources to do those things. If you're not acquiring those job ready skills earlier, then you're going to have a hard time as more and more of those responsibilities hit you, and you're struggling to increase your income to kind of keep up with those growing responsibilities. And look, the situation might have been more forgiving 10, 15 years ago for young people, but it's much less forgiving now because of the high unemployment rate and the cost of living. I think what we need to do is propose real solutions that are going to fix these problems in terms of the economy, immigration, skills development, other areas, and we need to talk to young people, support them in every way we can, because it's going to be tough out there, and it's because of economic policies of the government.
Yes.
Look, we we have every opportunity to be the richest country in the world. We have an abundance of natural resources. We have we have the ability to draw on the skills of people from all over the world. We have so many natural advantages as a country, and yet we see in these kinds of reports the outcomes of bad liberal policy. So we need to propose solutions to these problems as we have been doing, and also work to support young people as they try to contend with this new reality, starting earlier to acquire those job ready skills that they need, and accessing whatever resources they can to compete in this more challenging environment.
No, very well said, Garnett. I know this has been a key priority for you in your role as employment shadow minister. And I just wanted to have this because I know people across the country, and certainly in my riding of Elgin, St. Thomas, London South, have been sounding the alarm about this. And we're just now seeing the numbers start to catch up to what people have been experiencing. So I want people listening to know I hear you, and I'm eager to get cracking on these solutions the second the House goes back, and even before then, over the coming weeks. So thanks very much, Garnett, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Andrew.